up, everybody? Happy Wednesday! Happy hump day, everybody. We're rocking and rolling here on the number one forum for Bama. Football news, in my own words, yours truly, Stephen M. Smith, touchdown. Alabama Magazine. Appreciate everybody for checking us out on today. We are bringing the show to you from the magic city of Birmingham. Streaming this to you on YouTube. Speaking of the channel, go ahead right now. If you haven't done so, hit that subscribe button. Smash subscribe right now. Get your friends to subscribe as well, so that way you can get all of what you crave when you look at Crimson Tide football. Also, give a like on the show, give a thumbs up, run those likes up. Show that support, that love for this show right here. Also, be sure to turn all those notifications on, hit that little bell, so that way you can get all of your news, notes, alerts, entertainment on all things Crimson Tide football. Got a big show on this evening. No guests, just me, but that's fine. Got a lot to talk about here, and we want to hear from you tonight. Let the passion, let the phone calls, let the thoughts, let the ideas flow. And you can do this by calling 205-448-1358. And I'm going to call in to let your voice be heard on the show. 205-448-1358. And one more time, 205-448-1358. Want to hear from you. Daily Super Chat Go, $75. Daily Super Chat Go right there. NFL playoffs going on right now. We got the man King, Derrick Henry, for the Tennessee Titans. He is back out there on the practice field going through drills. Spoke today that he does have a metal plate in his foot, but doesn't seem to be bothering him or giving him any issues when it came down to conversations about how many reps could he get, how many times he'll be able to touch and carry the football. Didn't quite go into that, but we can all expect that 22 will be on the field for the Titans in the AFC divisional playoff game against the Bengals. Also, apparently, Jermaine Burton, wide receiver from Georgia, has hit the transfer portal after winning a national championship. And you already got Trayshawn Holden at Alabama on Twitter going, "Hey, son, let me holler at you right quick. We might want to try to get you here to Tuscaloosa." So does Jermaine Burton choose the Crimson Tide? Hey, remains to be seen there, especially after what we saw this past season with one Jamison Williams in 1 year coming to Alabama from Ohio State and what that young brother was able to do on the field. But we get into the first topic here, people of conversation on the show. And, John, the one thing that I enjoy about this country, and college football is the ability to have your own opinion. The ability to have and discuss and be free-flowing with your own opinion. And in terms of Alabama football, everybody's got a different opinion about Bill O'Brien. Everybody's got a different thought about Coach O.B., Billy O here. So you have half the fan base that goes, no, get him out of here, horrible, awful, terrible, get that man as far away from Tuscaloosa as possible. You have some that say that, but you have others that go, let's take a step back here for a minute. Was O'Brien really that bad? I mean, he did coach a top 10 scoring offense in college football. Alabama averaging 39.9 points per game, just a shade under 40. That was number 6 in all of college football. And OB did have the top 10 total offense. Alabama averaging 488.2 yards per game, which was number 7 in college football. So he did do that. I mean, Bill O'Brien did, have Alabama scoring 40-plus points in 9 games. 5 of those came against SEC schools. And, of course, Crimson Tide dropped 41 points on the Georgia Bulldogs in the SEC championship game. Nobody saw that coming right there. And, by the way, O'Brien did produce a 4,000-yard passer in Bryce Young, a 1,000-yard rusher in Brian Robinson, 2 1,000-yard receivers in Jamison Williams and John Mechie. He also produced a Heisman Trophy winner, or helped produce a Heisman Trophy winner in Bryce Young. So was O'Brien really that bad? Was he really that bad? These are the two opinions, the two thoughts, the two ideas here coming from the Crimson Tide fan base. Now, of course, O'Brien has been interviewing for different head coaching jobs in the NFL. Of course, U.S. fans have been mentioning, whoever takes Bill O'Brien, please take him, grab him. We'll throw in Doug Marrone as a clearance deal. 2 for 1. Take them both. Take them both. Just somebody get Bill O'Brien out of Tuscaloosa. Now, he interviewed for the Jacksonville Jaguars job. Jaguars recently fired Urban Meyer. And for a lot of you, and I myself included, because I cannot exclude myself, I was in the mix there. A lot of people were like, Jacksonville's the team. Jacksonville's going to take him. The Jaguars GM, Trent Baalke, really likes O'Brien. The Jags will take Billy O. And according to NFL Network's Mike Garafolo, with his sources, they're saying that, the vibe is not there for Jacksonville in terms of Bill O'Brien. So that makes U.S. fans go, oh, man, is anybody going to take the guy? So you look at the Minnesota Vikings need a coach with Mike Zimmer gone. The Miami Dolphins need a coach with Brian Flores gone. The Houston Texans need a coach. The New York Giants need a coach with Joe Judge out of here. I think the Broncos need a coach. I believe Vic Fangio is gone. So quite the number of teams need an NFL head coach. But is O'Brien the guy that they get? Is Bill O'Brien the guy that one of these NFL landing spots, hot spots, choose to be the head coach? Now, if he ends up staying at Alabama, let me pose to you this question here, fans, because you guys run college football. You have the energy. You have the tenacity. You have the love. You have the passion. Without the fans, is college football really college football? So let me just throw this to you, the Alabama football nation. In your opinion, does Bill O'Brien deserve a second year in Alabama? Should Bill O'Brien get that second year with the Crimson Tide? And while you're thinking about that, and while you are marinating on that for a minute, allow me to think about this, because I thought about this myself. I have. You look at the coordinators, the offensive coordinators that have been at Alabama under Nick Saban. Year 2 has always been the biggest success year for these particular young men, for these particular guys. You go back to Jim McElwain. 2008, his first year was good. And I remember people used to say, man, McElwain boring, McElwain archaic, he ain't creative enough, he ain't fun enough. 2008, McElwain's first year was okay. Did good. Got the team to the SEC championship game. Of course, it lost to Florida, and it lost to Utah in the Sugar Bowl, but, good 2008. 2009, year 2, he was a bit more comfortable. He was a bit more confident, knew what he was trying to do, knew what he wanted to do, felt more at ease. And what happened? Undefeated season, perfect season, national championship, SEC title, and producing the first Heisman Trophy winner in Mark Ingram. 2015, you look at Lane Kiffin. When he was hired in 2014, people were like, no, Kiffin? That's the dumbest thing. What is Saban talking about? Is Saban smoking? And what is he doing? Kiffin? This don't even fit nowhere near Bama. Oh, man, no. Don't bring that man in here. Kiffin's first year was a good year. Alabama wins the SEC championship, goes to the college football playoff, has a Fred Biletnikoff Award winner in Amari Cooper. Blake Sam set the single-season record for passing yards and touchdowns responsible for. It was a good year. But by year 2, Kiffin, more comfortable, more confident, understanding what he's supposed to do and why he's supposed to do and how he's supposed to do. A bit more of a firm foundation with Coach Saban. What happens? Oh, national championship, SEC championship, Heisman Trophy winner in Derrick Henry, 1,000-yard receiver in the freshman phenom Calvin Ridley, Jacob Coker, 3,000-yard quarterback. If you look at 2020 with Steve Sarkisian, 2019, people were like, we done brought Sarkisian back to Tuscaloosa. Oh, no. 2019 was a good year, with the exception of Tua Tagovailoa getting hurt. That was not good, but 2019 was a decent year. It ended off with a win over Michigan in the Citrus Bowl. But 2020, Sarkisian, comfortable. Sarkisian, confident. Sarkisian, year 2, knew what he was supposed to do, why and how, and what happened. Undefeated, perfect SEC championship, national championship, produced the greatest offense in the history of Alabama football, When you look at a 4,000-yard pass for Mac Jones, a 1,000-yard rush for Najee Harris, an 1,800-yard receiver in Devontae Smith. Devontae Smith wins the Heisman Trophy. Alabama had multiple Heisman finalists, sweeping the College Football Playoff Awards, all things of that nature. What I'm saying here is, people, that second year, you get more adjusted, more comfortable, more confident. You get to take a bigger survey, a bigger picture of what you have in terms of your offensive pieces around you. And you can't put the injuries on Bill O'Brien. You can put a lot of things on Billy O. You can put suspect play calling. You could put not running the football when you were supposed to. You could put not throwing the football when you were supposed to. You can put quite a few things on Bill O'Brien. Injuries, that's not on him. You can't put Jace McClellan going down on Bill O'Brien. You can't put Roydell Williams getting hurt on Bill O'Brien. You can't put Kamara Wheaton getting hurt in practice before the season even started and not even playing a game. You can't put that on O'Brien. You can't put having your two best receivers, Jamison Williams and John Mechie, both go down in the postseason. You can't put that on O'Brien. The injury part, you can't put that on O'Brien. But does he deserve that second year, in your opinion, especially when you discuss and when you see the track record of guys like Jim McElwain, of Lane Kiffin, of Steve Sarkisian in year two, where the Crimson Tide is concerned, offensive coordinators leading the program to, or helping the program get to national championships and finishing the job. I mean, Bill O'Brien could have a second year with Bryce Young, getting that chemistry even more confirmed and tighter and better and stronger. This could be a year two for Bill O'Brien where you got young receivers that can all sort of grow more so together. I mean, this year two could be a big opportunity for Coach OB, but comes down to you as the fans. Even though a lot of you want to see him as far away from Bryant-Denny Stadium as humanly possible, I pose to you this question. Because of the recent track record of success for offensive coordinators in year two under Nick Saban, do you give Bill O'Brien a second year with the program? Those are going to go to a break right now. Don't touch that dial. When we get back, getting your chest warm here, we go to your phone calls, your thoughts, your tweets, your chats, your conversations. We get into a dialogue with you, the Tide fans, right after this.
You're watching In My Own Words with Stephen M. Smith, brought to you by We Own the Fourth Quarter. Get your four-finger bling necklace today by visiting weownthefourthquarter.com. Throw them foes up.
What's up, Bama Nation? This is Rudy Griffin, former Alabama defensive lineman, and you're listening to my guy, Stephen M. Smith, In My Own Words, brought to you by Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Roll Tide, roll!
9 players have teamed up and released the Alabama Team Paper, which is a video yearbook they've put out for sale direct to fans. Now, for the first time, small dollar purchases from the fans can support the players as a group as well as a great cause, because $1 of every subscription payment is donated to the Boys and Girls Club of America. Be a 5-star fan base and support your team and a great cause with Team Paper. Check it out at teampaper.com/Alabama.
Remember the taste of Grandma's delicious sweets? Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes brings back those precious memories with just one bite. Each cake made from scratch. They make the perfect dessert to share with family and friends for any occasion, and ordering is easy. Visit emily'sheirloompoundcakes.com. Click the online store and shop. Then pick up your fresh cake at the kitchen in downtown Homewood. Order yours online at emily'sheirloompoundcakes.com. Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes, making memories from scratch.
And we are back into the action, doing the cha-cha here from the break on a Wednesday. Hump Day, number one forum for Bama football news in the offseason, in my own words. Yours truly, Stephen M. Smith, Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Appreciate you guys for checking us out on this evening. Got some super chats to get to, so how about Jimmy Clay for some of that? Jimmy Clay with that $25 donation, starting us off here on the show. Appreciate Jimmy Clay. And then we got my man Bill, baby. Bill from New York with that $5 donation, showing love. And then Jimmy Clay comes back with another $25. That's $50 coming from Jimmy Clay. Appreciate Jimmy and Bill from New York showing love here on the show. Daily Super Chat Go, $75 daily goal right there. Thanks to you, the fans, the family, helping us out right here. We go to the phone lines now to take your calls. Call segment brought to you by the Blue Wrench Gang, 205-448-1358. I'm going to call in right there, 205-448-1358. We grab a call right here. You're live on the show. What's going on? How are we feeling tonight? State your name and where you're calling from.
Hi, Stephen. Bill from New York. What's up?
Bill, what's good, man?
Well, look, I wanted to ask you, your opening monologue was great. Now, but would you mind, because I didn't get a chance to hear the show, live last week. Would you mind if I touched on last week's show? A couple of the things you put out got my head spinning, you know what I mean? I want to talk about, like, you mentioned the sack statistics for Will and Dallas, and those were amazing. And they're even, to me, I was thinking about it, they're even more incredible based on the fact that, like, when the other previous teams like Anderson and Johnson, that you quoted their numbers, they had really much more push up the middle than we did. When was the last time our team, we haven't had, like, push up the middle like Cody and Payne and Quinn and Williams, In fact, I think it was the other way around for our team. I think our outside linebackers were creating sack opportunities for the line. I'd really like to see more strength on the defensive line. I think it would make a big difference for us. Even at the defensive end, Jonathan Allen, he always had to be doubled. We didn't have a guy like that this year. And I'm hoping we get that next year. Now, when you talked about the offensive line, I agree 100%, man. What you really need is for Brock and Latham, you need these guys to step in, and then we're pretty much set. And that's a big if. But I think they could do it. I don't know why he kept Brock out all year. Maybe he's a little light, a little light. He was listed at 285. I think that might have been it. We want to get him stronger and bigger. But, great show, and I'm not gonna keep you, what I mean, like, to get involved in what you said tonight. But I'd like to know what you think about my comments. Do you think I'm right about the defense?
I think so, Bill. I think so, and that's one of the biggest questions for Alabama for this upcoming season starting in the spring is can it get back to having that dominant nose tackle, that dominant man in the middle of a defensive line that just causes so much frustration and havoc for offensive linemen? Because you're right, Alabama has not had that since a Quentin Williams, since a Marcel Darius, since a Damon Payne. The most recent one was Barmore, and Christian Barmore was kind of that diamond in the rough ordeal. So hopefully this spring we can get back to having that. Bama can get back to having that nose tackle that creates so much havoc. But absolutely, appreciate my man Bill from New York there calling in, getting it started here. Absolutely. Bill from New York calling us in here, starting us off with that call there. But I kind of a thought here for the fans that I had. If an NFL team was to get Bill O'Brien, let's just say one of these 7 or 8 NFL teams that need a head coach does get O'Brien, who would be the first phone call you would make as an offensive coordinator? My first phone call would be Joe Brady. I know some people would say, but Steven, he doesn't like recruiting, and Saban wants folks that like recruiting. At the same time, though, I think Joe Brady could actually really do well in recruiting. And I just look back at that 2019 offense he created at LSU with Joe Burrow, with Clyde Edwards-Helaire, with Jamar Chase, with Justin Jefferson, with Thaddeus Moss, with Terrence Marshall Jr., with all those guys. That offense in having 4,000-yard passer, 1,000-yard rusher. I think they had like 2 1,000-yard receivers. Terrence Marshall Jr. had like 13 touchdown catches. I mean, it was crazy. Absolutely crazy. So, I mean, Joe Brady would get a call from me. I think Joe Brady would get a call from me. I know it'll be a hard pull, but if you could just try to pull Hugh Freeze from Liberty, I would try it. Would it work? Maybe, maybe not. But I would at least try to see. You could pull a Hugh Freeze there from Liberty. But we'll see what happens. I just know so many people look at Coach O'Brien just remove. But we shall see what happens. Got a shot, my man Mechanic, with that $20 donation. Mechanic helping us out here, showing love. That daily goal of $75 has been met. Appreciate that. $75 has been met. Daily goal right there. 5 people are already saying Joe Brady. So y'all agree with me. The 5 people that are saying Joe Brady, you guys agree with me. That would be the first call to me. That would be the first call I would make. Joe Brady's the first call. For that, I try to make a push at Hugh Freeze. But then also, I'm not saying you do, but do you also make a call to Dan Mullen as an analyst? Not as an OC, but as an analyst, maybe even a quarterback coach. Do you do that? Do you pull that? We take a call right here. You're live on the show. What's going on? How we feeling? State your name. Where you calling from?
This is Charles from Demopolis.
Charles, what's happening, man? How you feeling?
Nothing.
What's on your mind, Charles? Hit me with something good, Charles.
I just Alabama lost.
I know, man. A lot of people are still angry, Charles. A lot of people still frustrated. Waylon was pretty mad just the other day, so people still stung up by this, Charles. I know.
Are we gonna win this year?
I think Bama's going to win. I think Bama's going to win it all next season. I mean, you can look at all the guys coming back, especially on defense. You get Bryce Young in his second year as a starting quarterback. You got all this talent on both sides of the ball. I feel like if Bama can get a cornerbacks coach in here, somebody to replace Jay Velai, cornerbacks coach in here, and then what happens to Bill O'Brien? Does the NFL team take him? Does he remain at Alabama? A lot of pieces moving around, but this team will win it all next season. Appreciate Charles from the Boppers calling in. Always a good call there coming from Charles. But continue my point here before we get into a topic. It's just, like fans, what are you thinking here? You got Joe Brady, who could possibly be in there. You've got Hugh Freeze, if you can make a push at that. Do you look at maybe a Dan Mullen as a offensive analyst or a quarterback's coach? Remembering 2018 when Alabama had Michael Locksley as the OC, Dan Enos as the quarterback's coach, which Enos did a good job. I mean, he helped polish up Jalen Hurts before he went to Oklahoma for 1 year in 2019. Really helped out with Tua Tagovailoa that year as a first-year starter. Tua, 43 touchdown passes, single-season record. Tua, over 3,900 passing yards, single-season record at that time. Tua, quite honestly, should have won the Heisman Trophy, but a guy by the name of Kyler Murray kind of, shook that up a little bit. But what are y'all thinking right now? We take this call here. You're live on the show. What's going on? How we feeling tonight? State your name and where you calling from.
Hey, Steven, this is Eric again from Pensacola, man. Pensacola, Florida in the house. Listen, I was just thinking what you said about an offensive coordinator, I guess, replacing Bill O'Brien. Man, I like Hugh Freeze. And the reason I like Hugh Freeze is because, man, he's also a great recruiter.
He is.
He got a great recruiting class when he was there at Ole Miss. And a lot of guys that we should have gotten, they got that year. And really developed a good team. He has a really good offensive mind, and I think he needs a second chance, We're turning folks over. It seems like every year we're going after coordinators and, coaches. I mean, everybody wants to pick from that Nick Saban coaching tree. And, but the thing about it is, man, I like the fact that, we can replace coaches when we want to. Saban does a good job, and he's just not going to go out and hire anybody. So, I don't know. Tell me what you think, and, man, keep doing what you're doing. We appreciate you.
Appreciate the call right there. I mean, like I said, Joe Brady would be the first name I would go after because he's no longer with the Carolina Panthers. Hugh Freeze would be a name I would push. Once again, if you would bring in a Dan Mullen, it would be as an offensive analyst or as a quarterbacks coach. But right now, the question remains, does an NFL team look at Bill O'Brien? People thought it would be the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now the vibe is Jacksonville not even trying to go after Bill O'Brien. You still have other NFL teams out there in need of a head coach. Does one of these other teams take O'Brien, or does he remain at Alabama for a second year, which, like we talked about, year 2 for these OCs? Jim McElwain, Lane Kiffin, Steve Sarkisian, they all hit in terms of national championships and producing Heisman Trophy winners. But we go to a quick little topic here before we take our break, and that goes to Bryce Young, the Heisman Trophy winner from the 2021 campaign. Young, the winner of the Manning Award. This came out on Tuesday as Bryce got the award, was presented to him by the All-State Sugar Bowl Committee. Big kudos to Bryce Young. Since 2004, 2 Alabama quarterbacks have won the Manning Award. It's fitting that it comes in back-to-back years. Mac Jones winning it in 2020, and now Bryce Young takes it in 2021. Bryce setting the single-season record for passing yards, touchdown passes, total yards, and touchdowns responsible for all of those areas. Bryce getting it done there in a single season for your Crimson Tide. But we go to a break right now. People, don't touch that dial. When we get back, we get to a conversation on can Alabama get back to having that elite dominant defensive tackle, that elite dominant nose guard that just creates bone-crushing havoc. We get into that right after this.
You know what we do at the start of the fourth quarter. We throw them foes up. But now you don't have to wait until the fourth quarter. Get your 4-finger bling necklace at weownthefourthquarter.com. It's the first and only logo that captures the essence of all Crimson Tide players and fans as we represent the legendary Alabama football fourth quarter dominance. Get your 4-finger bling necklace right now at weownthefourthquarter.com. Get yours today and stun on them haters.
Look at all these great players in Touchdown Alabama magazine. Man, wait till I turn up this year. I'm gonna be on the front cover. But what if Will goes off? Or Joe, DeMarco, Chris, Tim, Christian.
Don't wait. Order now at touchdownalabama.com or call 833-483-2624 today.
Christian or Jameer.
Thank you for tuning in. Show your support right now by clicking that like button. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button now and enable all notifications to make sure you don't ever miss any of the best Alabama football news, notes, and information right here on Touchdown Alabama.
All right, folks, we're back in from the break of a number 1 ticket, baby, for your Crimson Tide football news. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith, Touchdown Alabama magazine. We got some super chats to get to right now. So how about Rusty Chambers with that $30 donation showing love from the show? Appreciate that coming from Rusty Chambers. And then George Stokes with that $4.99 in the super chats. Appreciate Rusty Chambers and George Stokes showing love here on the show. Appreciate Plow Jogger 2 in the chat. He had some interesting options there for OC. Plow Jogger wrote in Jeff Grimes out of Baylor, who is a very good OC. I really respect what Coach Grimes has done. And then Plow Jogger also wrote in Phil Longo, who is at North Carolina. And Longo is kind of one of those old school guys. I mean, he runs the football, but he also has some spread implemented there in his scheme. And Coach Longo did a great job at North Carolina with Sam Howell at quarterback and the number of different running backs that have come through that program. But the question remains, Bill O'Brien, does an NFL team take him, or does he return to start spring ball as second-year coordinator offensively for the Crimson Tide? So we'll see. But as we're back in here to the conversation here, we're going to switch this now over to defense. So on Monday's show, John, we talked about the offensive line and what's needed on that side of the ball, especially with Tommy Brockermeyer and J.C. Latham. Can these 2 5-star freshmen that came in the 2021 class on both of those offensive tackle spots? And then you got Seth McLaughlin at center. I would have him penciled down right there. Your 2 guard spots. I like Javion Cohen at left guard. I think he's got a ton of potential. Right guard, yes, Emil Ekiyor is back at that spot. but I would also look at maybe a Terrence Ferguson, maybe a Jayden Roberts. So a little competition right there. Wouldn't mind that. But now, defensively here for the Crimson Tide on the defensive line, we know that the likes of Fedarian Mathis and LeBron Ray are both gone. Both of those two are going to pursue the NFL draft. But you look at Freddie Roach right here. Coach Roach entering his third year with defensive linemen. Came in 2020, entering his third year. And we know he's got the energy. We know he's got the passion. We know he is a great teacher of technique and things of that nature. But can Coach Roach produce? Can he produce a nose tackle, a defensive tackle, a guy in the middle of that defensive line to just wreak absolute, bring absolute, cause absolute havoc there for opposing offensive linemen, guards, centers, opposing offensive coordinators as well, mess up the timing and the flow there of the offense, because it's been a minute here since Bama has had that type of player. When you look at in the past, Terrence Cody was that guy. Marcel Darius was that guy. Jesse Williams was that guy. Quinnen Williams was that guy. Damon Payne was that guy. Christian Barmore back in 2020 was that dude. So can Alabama get back to having that type of player? Because bringing back DJ Dillon and Byron Young, I mean, that's cool. Having Byron Young back, I mean, here's a guy that when he's out there on the field, he is disruptive as a defensive end. He does, crack down. He does make plays out there. He does get to the quarterback. He does stop the run. I do like what Byron Young brings to the table. For DJ Dale, I mean, freshman year in 2019 was good. Had the little knee injury there, and since then, he's kind of flashed in parts and disappeared in parts. There's DJ, and then where did DJ go? There's DJ, and where did DJ go? So it's been a lot of up and down inconsistency with Dale. And the big thing here is Bama's got some talented guys that's recruited for that nose tackle spot. I mean, Tim Smith, when he came in 2020, a lot of people thought, this is the guy. This is the guy that's going to be the nose tackle. I mean, out of Sebastian River, Florida. This is the guy. But didn't play all that much in 2021 after having a very good season in 2020 as a freshman. So hopefully we can see something here from Tim Smith. I look at also Damon Payne, who came in the 2021 class. Keep your eyes on him. Big Payne, he could be somebody. Now, no relation to Damon Payne, but Damon Payne could be somebody right there at that nose tackle spot. And then, Tim Kenyon III, young man from Ramsey High School here in the Birmingham area, continuing that tradition of getting those big defensive tackles from this area. Keenan dropped some weight. He showed that body transformation photo on Twitter. So a great job by Jeff Allen and Ray and Blue and helping him drop that weight and get down to where he could be a huge player, where he could be a huge piece here in the defensive rotation. But could he be that disruptive nose tackle that can bully the center around, bully the guard around, and help the defensive ends and help the outside linebackers? Because that's what makes a defense special. When you got that guy in the middle of that front who can just take the center and walk him into the quarterback, and can take the guard and walk him into the quarterback, and that just opens up so much of your defense. It has the defensive ends playing fast. It's got the linebackers playing fast. It's got the secondary going, man, we got a guy up front that's just whipping up. On the offensive line, we don't have to cover as long as we think we have to cover, because that guy is creating a whole bunch of problems for the offensive line. So that's going to be a big thing here for Alabama starting off this spring is Coach Freddie Roach. Can he get a nose guard? Can he get a defensive tackle? Can he get somebody in the middle of that front, in the middle of that line, playing lights out ball, playing outstanding ball, and just creating that type of penetration, that type of havoc, that type of disruption there? Because U.S. fans have not seen that consistently in quite some time, and definitely something I want to see Bama get back to. Coach Saban definitely wants to get back to that, and hopefully Freddie Roach can find that. But we go to a break right here, folks. Don't touch that dial, because when we get back, return to the phone lines. Pick up the phone, baby. We get back to the phone lines to get your calls, your thoughts, your tweets, your chats, your interactions. We'll return to you guys on a hump day right after this.
Don't touch that dial. Call in right now as we're taking your calls up next on In My Own Words with Stephen M. Smith. Brought to you by We Own the Fourth Quarter. Visit weownthefourthquarter.com now to get your four-finger bling necklace. Every sports fan deserves the proper representation. Whitwell Sports introduces to you the Title Towel. Wave that Title Towel in the air like you just don't care in support of Nick Saban and the Alabama Crimson Tide. Only $9.99 and it lasts a lifetime. Head on over to whitwellsports.com and get your Title Towel today. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month, or pay $74.95 for a full year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide. Thank you for tuning in. Show your support right now by clicking that like button. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button now and enable all notifications to make sure you don't ever miss any of the best Alabama football news, notes, and information right here on Touchdown Alabama.
And we are back in, folks, from the break on a Wednesday. Number one forum for your Crimson Tide. Football news, in my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith. Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Appreciate you guys checking us out here on today. We got the man George Stokes with another $4.99 in the Super Chats. Appreciate the love there coming from George Stokes here helping us out on the show. We go to the phone lines right now to take your calls. Call segment brought to you by the Blue Wrench Gang, 205-448-1358. Number to call in right there, 205-448-1358. And one more time, 205-448-1358. We grab this call here. You're live on the show. How we feeling tonight? What's going on? State your name and where you calling from.
What's going on, Steve? Elijah here. How you doing, bro?
Elijah, doing good, man. What's happening?
Oh, man, I was just calling, man. I see that you got a little debate going on about Bill O'Brien. Do we deserve a second year at Bama? And, my honest opinion, I ain't no Bill O'Brien hater, but I kind of feel that, honestly, I don't think this dude deserves another year at Alabama. Just on the strength of the offense really didn't flow like that. I think it wasn't Bill O'Brien's coaching. I think more of it was the athletes we had there. We had the Bryce Young. We're talking about a Heisman winning quarterback. So, you are allowed as an offensive coordinator, or you can make more mistakes with the play calling when you got a guy like Bryce Young there that's very versatile. He could do multiple things. He can run when he has to. He could read the defenses pretty well. And then, you got Jamison Williams, you got Mechie on the outside. You got a few toys that you can utilize, whenever you want to. I don't think it was so much his play calling. I just think he had a kind of a riches of talent there, even with B-Rob, a whole stable full of running backs, and we know how that went throughout the year with them getting hurt. But if you really want to, it's a huge difference. You can see the difference with Steve Sarkisian and Bill O'Brien. It's like levels between that. And I think for, this team to win the national championship next year, they're going to need a better play caller, because, the defense ain't going to hold up all year. The defense is going to break down some games. You're going to need that offense to pick up and carry them certain games. So as far as bringing him back for a second year, I don't feel he's the guy. Plus, it's like he's allergic to running the ball. If you leave it up to him, dude would throw 70 times a game. I kind of feel with that Cincinnati game, that was a no-brainer. And you, myself, and half of the listeners on this chat would have made the run game the focus of the offense during Cincinnati. So that didn't take a lot of brains. That didn't take a lot of skill set. That was a common sense thing. But I think when the Georgia game came around, even though he was out without his two horses in Mechie and Williams, I really felt the play calling in that Georgia game really defined who this guy he really is, and he's really not an offensive coordinator, But I wanted to ask you another question. A lot of these guys, they get amped up on, a lot of these freshmen. Oh, we're going to have this guy coming in, that guy coming in. My opinion about that is freshmen still need time to develop. They need time to develop. They got to learn the system. If you look at Alabama's roster, everybody was the man in high school. All of these guys was all this, all that. But now when you get to college, everybody's on the same playing field. Only the cream going to rise to the top. In your opinion, who do you think is going to be the standout freshman coming in this season to this Alabama team? Who and why?
Man, that is a good question. Who can be the standout freshman for this Alabama team and why? If I had to say one, give me Aaron Anderson at wide receiver, and the reason why he's got the best opportunity due to that slot position for Alabama with Slade Bolden going to the NFL draft. That slot position is wide open for competition. Yes, you got Christian Leary. Yes, you got JoJo Earl. But as we've seen this past season, Jamison Williams had that different kind of speed that made defenses play Alabama differently. Because with that guy on the field, you have to commit a corner. You got to commit a safety. The schematics are different. And when J-Mo got hurt, Georgia was almost like, thank God, because now we can go back to one-on-one locking these guys down because nobody else has that speed for Bama like Jamison Williams does. When you look at it, Aaron Anderson coming out of high school in Louisiana, according to our own Justin Smith, he's got that type of speed. So I think he has a chance to be that impactful freshman, especially given the opportunity, that slot position at wide receiver. Going to be a lot of competition there. Appreciate my man Elijah from Jersey for that call. That was awesome right there from him. We got James Vance with that $4.99 on the Super Chats. Appreciate that coming in from James Vance, helping us out here, showing love on the show. We go to this call right here. You're live on the show. What's going on? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
What's going on? It's your bro, Coach Smoot, man. What's
Senator
good, man?
Hines, the pimp gang is in here. What's going on?
Man, that much, man. Just was listening to the last caller, and he hit a lot of things on the head. I only disagree. I've been liking to disagree a lot lately with the chat since it's the off season, and but I disagree. I think Bill O'Brien did what he could with the first-year starter. Let's think about it. Bryce Young was in a system with a different coordinator. Same basic concepts, but a different type of play call. So Bill O'Brien came in and used the strengths that he recognized off top. Bryce Young's ability to make plays off script. Bryce Young's ability to create plays off script. Bryce Young's ability to create one side of the field reads or progress through his second and third read. So that's what Bill O'Brien took advantage of. And you also have to factor in the offensive line. We were putting together offensive line up until starting to opening week. There was a lot of offensive line competition, and even throughout the year, you all saw the struggles until we got the right center in place, which that's just a process that you have to live and be better with. The running back room, we took the major injuries in the running back room early in the season. If you look at the offensive stats between weeks 1 through 5, I think it was week 5 or week 6 when we lost Jace and Roydell. But I know weeks 1 through 5, our offensive play calling, there was a balance there. It was 64, 36, something like that. 64, 36 one game, then it was 56, 40, 44, whatever the splits was the next game. Like, the balance was there, and the offensive run game was having production. It wasn't as many explosive plays as we was used to seeing with Najee Harris and, when he was the ball carrier, but the offensive run game was consistent. It wasn't like that threat we were used to, but it was consistent. It was still had to be respected. So I think Bill O'Brien, he made a lot of questionable play calls in the red zone. I will say that. We think about the main key moments in the season when it happened, but I think about it even in small games against like New Mexico State, where it looked like he was trying to, practice, like he was trying to force practice a spread, empty backfield play in the red zone on the 3-yard line or some crap like that. So it was some questionable things he did this year, but I do think he deserves a second year, being that he will have the same quarterback, a Heisman winning quarterback that he's already developed a good relationship with. You can tell the guys trust him, even with DeMoy Kennedy coming over, and just Bill O'Brien made a statement in the interview when they asked about the running backs. He said, "I got one guy that he's going to get in there and be a pinball." And when Kennedy got those 7 or 8 carries that one game, that dude was literally a pinball running to the back of offensive linemen, whatever, And guys, small things like that let me know that these guys trust him. The way the offensive line began to pick each other up and gel together is a direct reflection of, an offensive coordinator setting them up to be successful. And he made adjustments, may not have been as quick as possible, not as quick as we're used to, but this was his first year, guys. So, Bill O'Brien, not the best we've had, but he sure isn't the worst. I will say he did his best to maximize the talent. The only gripe I would say, I don't know who handles personnel on the offensive side, but we had way too much talent sitting in wait, early in the year, and it showed up late in the year when we needed those young guys to step up. A lot of those young guys, Ajayi Hall, Ja'Cory Brooks, a lot of those guys should have been playing week one, getting, nice reps, especially when Slade Bolden and those guys were struggling early. A lot of those guys could have been getting meaningful reps in, competitive gameplay, and it would have helped later on in the season. But overall, I think Bill O'Brien did. I give him a B- for this year as far as coordinator and how he handled things. Just because it was first year, transitioning, into college, gameplay is different, and you can see he started learning slowly towards the end of the season, and I feel like I got confidence if he stays. I feel like we'll be back to the explosive plays we're used to seeing, and despite all of the gripes and complaints, we were still only a few points off of our average from last year. One of the best offensive years we've seen at Alabama and Alabama football history, with Mac Jones and the guys. So I say Bill, B-. I give him a decent grade. And yeah, I would like to see some enthusiasm from him too. Like, come on, man, like give us some energy. But that's how I feel about it, Steven. Appreciate you for taking my call, man. And roll tide to everybody in the chat. TDA, y'all know I love everybody up there. Much love. Coach Snoop, I'm out.
Appreciate Senator Hines for that call right there. I wonder, can we get some energy from Bill O'Brien? I mean, he's always up there in the booth. He's not down there on the field, so hopefully Coach Saban can convince him to get down there on the field more as a play caller. But we take this call here. You're live on the show. What's going on? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
Hey, Steve, this is Robert from Chicago. How are you?
Robert, doing well on yourself.
Hey, I got something a little controversial for you, but since you challenged us, here's my thinking. I think Nick Saban has an opportunity to make history, to put a defining touch on his coaching dynasty by picking Eric Bieniemy as offensive coordinator.
Ooh.
With the understanding that under his tutelage, that over the next 2 or 3 years before he retired, he is his pick to take on the Alabama dynasty. I think it does quite a few things for the sport of football in both college and professional, to bring in an innovative person who is probably one of the premier coaches in the history of the game from an offensive standpoint. And I think with the fine touches that Nick could put on him, he would be continuing the gold standard for Alabama football for the foreseeable future. So chew on that one. Give me your thoughts.
You know what? This is Robert. You're the first one to bring up Eric Bieniemy because what he has done in Kansas City with Patrick Mahomes is nothing short of remarkable. When you look at Mahomes as a chance to get back to the Super Bowl, win a second Super Bowl title, this is probably one of the more creative, nuanced minds of the NFL with Andy Reid. So that would be a really, really good one. Appreciate that call right there. Robert from Chicago giving us that thought right there. We continue with this call. You're live on the show. What's going on? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
Stephen Smith, this is Justin Riley. What's going on, brother?
Justin, doing fantastic, man. How you feeling?
Feeling good the closer we get to Friday. But, hey, I want to touch on two things. One, Bill O'Brien, I do think that he does need to be given one more chance and to really see what he's capable of. I honestly think had our backfield remained healthy, we could have done a lot more things creatively with them, especially with Jace McClellan. And I think he would have been a huge key against Georgia. But if we do end up losing him, one name that no one's really mentioning here on the calls is Freddie Kitchens, an Alabama guy, a good offensive mind. And consider bringing him in. In regards to the defensive line, I think Byron Young is going to be that dude this year. But who's going to be the guy next to him? What about Jamil Burroughs? He shows some flashes. He's young, but I think this is a kid that's going to be a disruptive force up front.
Really like Burroughs. He was another one that as a freshman in 2020, when he took the field, he did some good things. So I would like to see Burroughs out there. A big Jamarian Latham out of Reform, Alabama, played at Pickens High School. I would like to see Jamarian Latham get a shot out there. So it's not that Bama doesn't have a talent at the nose tackle position or the defensive tackle position. It's, can it have that guy that can just be that force? Because like I mentioned, Bama has had the Marcel Dariuses that were a force. You were like, how do we stop this dude? How can we neutralize this dude? Well, you couldn't do it. You couldn't neutralize Terrence Cody. You couldn't neutralize Jesse Williams. You couldn't neutralize Damon Payne. You couldn't neutralize Dalvin Tomlinson. You couldn't neutralize Quentin Williams or Christian Barmore. So that's the big thing that Bama fans want to figure out is, can we get that guy in the middle that teams will not be able to neutralize in terms of keeping that guy from the quarterback and from the run game. But appreciate that call from my man Justin Riley out of Mississippi. We're going to go to this topic right here as you guys continue to get your calls in. 205-448-1358. The number right there, 205-448-1358. How about Jalen? Thy name is Hurts. Jalen Hurts will continue to be the starting quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles for the 2022 season, according to general manager Howie Roseman and the head coach Nick Sirianni. They are rocking with Jalen Hurts. They are sticking with him, and for good reasons. For good reasons. Is he the most polished quarterback in the NFL? No. But there are so many qualities Hurts brings that you can work with and that you can grow with and that you can develop. I mean, he had a good year this past season. 3,144 passing yards. Did have 26 total touchdowns, 9 picks. He had 6 games where he had a passer rating of 100 or better. He had 6 games where he had 2+ touchdown passes. And he led the Eagles back to the playoffs. They missed the playoffs in 2020. So at 9-8, the city of brotherly love went back to the postseason. I mean, so there are some things you can build on with Jalen. You definitely need to get him another receiver because, my goodness, Jalen Reagor drops everything but a code. You got to give him another receiver. You got to get him probably maybe one more offensive lineman, maybe. But you definitely got to get him one more receiver to put with Devontae Smith. But I see growth. I see promise in Jalen Hurts, and I'm happy that Howie Roseman and Nick Sirianni see these same things. But we're going to go to a break here, folks. Don't touch that dial. When we get back, we get into, is Alabama targeting a defensive back coach with SEC ties to replace Jay Velai? We'll talk about it after this.
If you're an avid Alabama Crimson Tide fan and you love to flaunt it, then show your Alabama Crimson Tide support by grabbing the All-Bama sneakers. They feature bold Crimson Tide graphics, so no one will be able to question where your allegiance lies. When you add these sweet sneakers to your Alabama Crimson Tide collection, go to STSfootwear.com and use the code TDAlabama for $15 off your purchase. That's code TDAlabama for $15 off your purchase. Go to STSfootwear.com and get your All-Bama sneakers today. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month, or pay $74.95 for a full year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide.
I'm Malachi Moore, and you're watching In My Own Words with Stephen M. Smith on Touchdown Alabama YouTube channel.
Back in here, folks. Back in here from the break. Number one form for Crimson Tide football news. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith, Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Appreciate you guys for checking us out on today, making this your show, your network, your channel, your platform, your space to talk your Alabama football. And before we get into the final topic of conversation, got to remind you of TDAwear.com. That's TDAwear.com. We got you right here, the best gear repping your Crimson Tide, whether it's shirts, pullovers, hoodies, white tees, whatever you want, repping your Crimson Tide. Check us out right now, TDAwear.com. TDAwear.com. You go to that merch tab, get you all of your gear today, showing that support for Coach Saban, the University of Alabama, the student athletes, and us here at Touchdown Alabama Magazine. But we get into now, so Alabama defensive back coach with Jay Velai leaving the Crimson Tide for Oklahoma in a new role as a co-defensive coordinator and pass defense coordinator. For Alabama, does it have a guy? Is Nick Saban targeting somebody that can take over Velai's job? Has Alabama targeted somebody that will replace Velai at that position? Right now, the name that's coming up, the name that's starting to create some traction, and as Alabama get him remains to be seen, but the name that's starting to create traction is Travaris Robinson. Travaris Robinson, who is from Miami. He is from South Florida, but he's got major ties in the SEC. Now, he was the DB coach for the Hurricanes last season, but he's got huge ties to the SEC. Robinson played at Auburn, former Auburn DB, but he has been at Auburn, he has been at South Carolina, he has been at Florida. So he has a big footprint here on the SEC. And you guys know how Coach Saban loves to get those coaches that have a footprint in this conference. He loves to get those coaches that have played in this conference, coached in this conference, know this conference. They have an understanding of the landscape, but it's the SEC, and Robinson does have this. Now, in his coaching career with DBs, he has coached 100-plus interceptions, whether this was at Western Kentucky at 2008, Texas Tech 2010, Southern Miss 2009, all the way down to his SEC experiences like Auburn, South Carolina, Florida, now where he is now at Miami. So 100-plus interceptions here for Travaris Robinson that he has coached. Now, he's mentored a lot of big names. He's mentored some guys that were some first-round picks. You look at Florida, he had guys like Matt Elam. He had guys like Vernon Hargraves, played in the NFL. He's had guys like Keanu Neal. He had a guy in South Carolina by the name of J.C. Horn, who's in the NFL right now. He's had some big names. This is one, Travaris Robinson. Also, he's coached several of these names to be first-round picks in the league. Going back to J.C. Horn, going back to guys like Keanu Neal, going back to guys like Vernon Hargraves. I mean, he's coached some of the big names in college football to the NFL, and he's also got that that SEC experience with Auburn, with Florida, and with South Carolina. Has a lot of energy, but not just that. He is a major technician. He has these guys turning around, facing the ball, being in phase, playing the ball in the air, playing the lower third, being in the receiver's hip pocket, knowing when to turn. He's got guys that have a feel for playing cornerback. And when you look at Kool-Aid McKinstry and Kyrie Jackson, both guys have potential. Both guys have tools. Both guys have traits to make them strong corners. But you have to have that coach to bring it out of you. You have to have that coach to pull it out of you. And as good as Jay Velai was, as much energy as Velai had, could not pull it out of him in terms of, his coaching style there. So Travaris Robinson could be the guy that can really pull the big play out of these guys, because under Nick Saban at Alabama, we've seen some special DB coaches. I mean, Kirby Smart was a special DB coach. Jeremy Pruitt was a big-time DB coach. Then you look at Mel Tucker. Mel Tucker in 1 year turned the secondary around. I remember 2013 and 14, Bama secondary was the laughingstock of college football. Folks were saying, you want to beat Alabama? Throw on them. DBs can't cover. They can't see the ball. They can't read the ball. They can't defend the ball. Throw on them. And then Mel Tucker comes in here, 2015, and the no-fly zone was born. You had Eddie Jackson with 6 picks. You had Marlon Humphrey with 2 picks. You had Minka Fitzpatrick with 2 picks. You had Ronnie Harrison with 2 picks. It was like, my goodness. Like, Mel Tucker was doing the thing. He was doing the thing. And then behind him, you have guys like Derek Ansley, who, once again, big-time DB coach, producing first-round picks, producing guys to create those turnovers, and not just turnovers, returning turnovers for touchdowns, those non-offensive touchdowns. U.S. fans, y'all miss those knots. Y'all miss those NOTs. Y'all miss them. So Derek Ansley did that. And then even down to Carl Scott. Carl Scott did that in terms of being a teacher, being a guy that really got defensive backs to have a feel for the game, play the football, turn around and face the football, be in phase out there on the field. So right now, a name that's starting to create some traffic here in terms of Alabama looking at him is Travaris Robinson out of Miami. Now, does Alabama make this move? Do they bring him in? Remains to be seen. But I've said this a couple of times already. Getting a cornerbacks coach, a solid, firm, elite, legit cornerbacks coach is going to be huge here for Alabama where this defense is concerned, because if Kool-Aid McKinstry and Kyrie Jackson really hit as outside corners, or whether it's Kool-Aid McKinstry and Eli Ricks, with Eli Ricks in here now, if the corners hit, if Alabama's outside corners hit this season, then we're going to have the return of a no-fly zone. So you got to have a cornerbacks coach in here that can get that job done. So Travaris Robinson is one of the guys being looked at. If he is the guy, fantastic. If not, then hopefully Alabama can get somebody in here that can get that job done. But as always, Tide Nation, you want the best in news, notes, information, and coverage on your favorite program, that being the Crimson Tide. You can get this by accessing the Touchdown Alabama Magazine app. You download the app from the iPhone App Store if you're rocking Team Apple, Google Play Store. If you got the Android phone for your audio listening needs, check us out. iTunes or Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Spreaker, TuneIn Radio, Overcast.fm, or iHeartRadio. We got you covered right there. As always, Tide Nation, you can purchase individual copies of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Have those sent to your door. That link will be found in the description. Also, if you're trying to get the fresh edition, print edition of TDA the magazine, you go to touchdownalabama.com, you click join, become a member, a subscriber today. That link in the description. If you want to get your hands on the 4-finger bling necklace, 4-finger bling jewelry, courtesy of our guys at weownthefourthquarter.com. That's weownthefourthquarter.com. thefourthquarter.com. That link in the description too. But until next time, folks, until next time, people, husbands, love your wives. Wives appreciate, value those husbands. Children, we're back in school. Continue, though, doing the right thing, fun thing, smart thing, legitimate thing to not be bored. You pick up yourself those 3 hearty meals a day, those 3 great laughs a day. You protect yourself. You protect the loved ones around you. Until next time, folks, I'm your man, Stephen M. Smith, and as always, you've been listening to In My Own Words.